Coming up on today's show, we take a look at the digital divide throughout the United States and what Richland 2 is doing to ensure Wi-Fi is available for all students.
Plus, hear how some parents are petitioning for schools to reopen. What does the district have to say? And we have an update on fall sports. Get ready because RNE TV starts right now. What's up, Cavaliers? Today is Wednesday, October 7th, and today is an A-Day. My name is Kirslyn Gunter. This virtual world may be the new normal, but we hope that this show brings you some new normalcy. As the first quarter continues completely virtual, internet connectivity and lack of high-speed internet connections have plagued some students and teachers. But the South Carolina Department of Education and Richland School District 2 are working together to help students and teachers. Here is RNE TV reporter Ebony Christie with more.
Technology, in a sense of speaking, makes the world go round. But now more than ever, things have shifted virtually, and the digital divide throughout the United States is even more prevalent. The digital divide refers to those who have ready access to technology and the internet versus those who have little to no accessibility. Many students and families are finding it difficult to gain access to the internet. And for places like South Carolina, where rural areas exist, many students are finding hardships in terms of internet availability. Districts throughout the Palmetto State estimate that 3 to 40% of their students lack access to the internet at home. But luckily, lawmakers and educators within the state of South Carolina are making an effort to enable internet access statewide. And school districts like Richland 2 have developed their own initiatives, such as the distribution of Wi-Fi hotspots, so students with certain circumstances may be able to learn effectively without the internet being a hindrance.
These hotspots are designed to work with our Chromebooks. And so this year, students have to bring their Chromebook in order when they come to pick up the hotspot, so that these protocols can be pushed down to the student, and that way the hotspot connects automatically to the Chromebook and you don't have to worry about a password or anything like that.
All of our students are eligible, and they're all in need. There's no specific demographic other than you don't have Wi-Fi at home or reliable Wi-Fi at home.
Though Wi-Fi hotspots serve as an alternative, stipulations do exist.
They only work with the Chromebook. So hotspots we had last year, you were able to use your own device with the Wi-Fi box. This year you can't. So you have to be connected to the Chromebook with this hotspot.
In South Carolina, where rural areas exist, more than 500,000 South Carolinians don't have access to high-speed internet.
Some of that is the nature of South Carolina. Other locations like New York City or Palo Alto, some cities are more some states are more have more technology companies, and that tends to drive your internet access.
There's a big misconception that just because we live in a larger city that everyone has access to Wi-Fi, and it's definitely not true. We have pockets here in Columbia where the Wi-Fi signal is just not that strong.
If you attend a Richland 2 school and would like more information, or if you are in need of Wi-Fi, you can contact your school social worker. Or you can visit the official Richland 2 website, type in Wi-Fi in the search bar, and it will provide you with information on the outdoor Wi-Fi zones District 2 has to offer. Reporting for RNE TV, I'm Ebony Christie.
On September 26th, Richland Northeast hosted a Day of Action. The Day of Action was a community drive-through event organized by SC Counts that offered free flu shots, COVID testing, voters registration, census completion, and free masks. Student government worked with the event as volunteers. Although many people didn't attend the event, the organizers say that they still made an impact on the people who did.
The purpose of this event today is to get people to come out to register to vote, to complete their census, to have COVID testing, and the flu vaccine.
The turnout wasn't significant. We were hoping for a lot more, but with what we had, I think we did make an impact.
I think that one thing we could do is publicize better. I think that why it happened this way was because it was kind of thrown on us a little bit last minute.
But the small things count, and they do make a difference in the big equation, and I think it's just letting people know that they matter.
CVS and Benedict College are offering free rapid COVID tests. Call 803-705-4351 to schedule an appointment. You can receive your results in less than 30 minutes. Coming up after the break, hear how some parents are looking for a face-to-face schooling option for their children. And we hear how the Cavaliers sports team have started off their fall sports seasons. We'll be right back.
To wear your mask properly, you need to make sure that it is securely on your face and covering your mouth and nose. For more information, visit cdc.gov.
Having internet issues? Here are 5 tips to help you get the most out of your Chromebook in virtual learning.
Tip number 1, delete old files or move them to your drive.
To get rid of the files you no longer need, hold down and drag over the files you want, double or right click, and press delete. You can use the trash icon in the top right corner to delete once they're selected as well. If you still got files you want to hold on to, consider moving them to Google Drive. To transfer your files over, select the ones you want, press down, and drag over to Google Drive in the left-hand menu. Tip number 2, clear your tabs. If you're in the middle of a class, it's really important that you only have the most necessary tabs open. Get rid of the tabs for your other classes and try to stay on one window. If you think you'll need a certain website later, you can always bookmark it. Speaking of which, tip number 3 is don't forget to bookmark important tabs. If you've got a website you need to access on a daily basis, take the time to bookmark it. You can organize your bookmarks into folders for your classes or leave each of them by their lonesome on the bookmarks bar. Tip number 4 is clear your browsing data. A simple way to keep your computer running as smoothly as possible is to clear out your browsing data. To access your history, either use Ctrl-H or click the 3 dots in the top right corner of your screen. Hover over and select History, select Clear Browsing Data from the left-hand side menu of the page, and select which items you'd like to be cleared.
Tip number 5 is take advantage of keyboard shortcuts, but there's a whole world full of useful shortcuts at your fingertips. For example, Ctrl-Shift-T reopens closed tabs, and to find a specific keyword on a page, use Ctrl-F. To bookmark a current tab, use Ctrl-D. Finally, in the Google Meet tab, you can use Ctrl-E to turn your camera on and off, and you can use Ctrl-V to mute and unmute your mic.
Alright, that was 5 tips on how to get the most out of your Chromebook in virtual learning. We hope this enhances your Cavalier experience from home. Reporting for RNE TV, I'm Karina Span.
Welcome back. We have officially surpassed 1 month of virtual learning this school year, and it's been over 6 months since school was canceled in March. The district says it plans to continue to follow DHEC's risk rating of our district before shifting into Phase 2, which is a hybrid learning model. But some parents would like their students back in the classrooms. RNE TV reporter Christy Perez has more.
Over the summer, Richland 2 decided to keep schools closed due to COVID-19. They came up with a 3-phase plan. Phase 1 being fully virtual, Phase 2 being virtual and in person, making it a hybrid model, and Phase 3 meaning fully in person. But when school started, some parents did not feel that plan worked best for their students.
I mean, we're making the best of it, but it's definitely not ideal. It's not, the learning style doesn't necessarily fit my children's preference, our family situation. My husband and I both work.
Due to the strain that e-learning was putting on News Life, she decided to make a petition for schools to go back.
Got over 500 signatures from families in the community. And, you know, people reaching out to me that I didn't even know on social media to, you know, voice their support and thank me for initiating that.
For teachers and teacher advocacy group SC for Ed, their biggest concern was making sure that they went back when it was safe for everyone.
So we wanted to make sure that teachers were safe as they returned, and as well as students, and so the learning environment is not disrupted like it was in the spring. And so we really pushed this summer virtual until safe was our hashtag.
I don't think it's safe for anyone to come back to school. Once students start coming into the building and we have a lot of students at one time, that's just asking for a viral outbreak to happen. And so I want to come back, but I want to do so safely.
Richland 2 gave parents an optional survey to see how they felt about sending their kids back to school. 32% of parents felt very uncomfortable, 26% felt uncomfortable, 22% felt comfortable, and 19% felt very comfortable. Through survey results and the petition, Richland 2 is working hard to make sure that your students go back to school soon.
I don't think anyone would disagree that we want our children back, those who want to be back face-to-face as soon as possible. Our numbers are looking better and better. In fact, they're looking really, really good. And so we have our hopes up that sooner rather than later, we're actually going to be able to phase into phase 2.
One thing that all parents and teachers are agreeing on is that they want to find the best and most safe way for all students to come back to school as soon as possible.
It's not ideal, and it's not what our kids need.
We want to be back face-to-face for those folks who want to be face-to-face just as soon as possible. No doubt about it.
If I had to choose between virtual and in-person, I'm always going to choose the in-person, but I want to make sure it's safe.
To keep up with the most up-to-date information, check out the Richland 2 website, which will take you to a new link giving you all the updated information, or keep an eye on your email. Signing off for RNE TV, I'm Christy Perez.
Although students aren't back in the classroom, athletes are back on the field and on the courts. Here is Sports 360 reporter Elijah Slater with a sports update.
Welcome to the first edition of Sports 360 of the year. I'm Elijah Slater. The 2020 fall sports season is well underway. Let's dive into the pool. The swim team held senior night at their meet last Wednesday. They faced off against Camden and Lugoff Elgin. The boys beat Camden, but the Cavs lost in the combined team scores. Moving from the pool to the court. The girls volleyball team hosted Westwood last Tuesday. The Cavaliers lost the first set 25-18. They tried to bounce back but fell short in the second set 25-15. The Cavs ended up dropping the third and final set to complete the sweep.
I feel like we've actually played pretty good. We have really big opponents, so we did the best we could. We're really small, so.
Girls tennis traveled to Irmo on Thursday. They fell short to the Yellow Jackets with a final score of 6-0. Now let's move on to the field. Boys varsity football hosted Irmo at Terry Perone Stadium on last Friday. The Yellow Jackets came out striking fast with a couple of big runs before eventually putting up a touchdown and gaining a 7-0 lead on the Cavaliers. After a quick 3-and-out by Richland Northeast, Irmo ran in another touchdown and gained a 14-0 lead by the end of the first quarter. After a Cavalier safety in the beginning of the second quarter, the Irmo lead increased to 16-0. Irmo then connected a deep pass to further extend their lead. The Yellow Jackets would again run it down for another score after a fumble deep inside Irmo territory by the end of the half. The score was 49-0 for the Yellow Jackets. The Cavs opened up the second half strong with a long catch and run for a touchdown to number 11, Amir Cherry. Irmo answered quickly with a touchdown of their own. The Cavs failed to score the remainder of the game and fell to Irmo with a final score of 63-6.
It didn't go out as planned, but all we got to do is watch film and get back to it.
The football team traveled to AC Flora on Thursday, but lost to the Falcons with a final score of 49-8. That wraps up this edition of Sports 360. Remember to follow @CavPlex on Twitter and Instagram for the latest updates and scores. Reporting for RNE TV, I'm Elijah Slater.
Thanks, Elijah. The girls' volleyball and tennis teams take on Westwood tomorrow away. You can purchase your tickets online at rncavaliers.com. Cash is not accepted at the gates this year. Well, that's all we have for today's show. Stay tuned for our next show, which we will feature a closer look at Black voices and the election. Be sure to follow at Caplex on Twitter and on Instagram for more updates. Reporting for RNE TV, I'm Kerslyn Gunter, and remember, it's a great day to be a Cavalier.